So this is a very quick update again on now Hurricane Milton. This thing is getting its act together pretty quickly. You can see some very deep convection around the center of the storm with the outflow in the top layer of the clouds. This is indicative of some organization that Milton is undergoing right now. So let's get into the forecast. Get your ragu sauce because we got some spaghetti plots to look at. The numbers indicate the hours after initiation. The initiation is at 2 p.m. or 18Z on October 6th. The numbers are in hours, so this is 72 hours, 96, 100. So this is 3, 4, or 5 days out. Notice that most of the models in this latest run have the storm pretty much just off the coast, western coast of Florida in about 3 days. So landfall will be maybe in between 3 and 4 days from now. The guidance, the implication for this storm along the coast of the Carolinas is this. Since models have trended towards a more southerly route, the effects of this storm that will be felt along the coast of North and South Carolina will in fact be minimalized. Some of the guidance that we looked at in the last video, where it had a shield of precipitation extending a lot further inland on the west side of I-95, now pretty much hug the coast. Both the hurricane version A and B, as well as some of the ensembles. So that's good news. However, you'll still be dealing with a pretty brisk wind out of the northeast, while some of the ensemble guidance has about 20 to 30 knots out of the northeast along the North and South Carolina coast. So while this storm is transitioning from over the peninsula of Florida to the Atlantic Ocean, it should transition into a extratropical cyclone pretty quickly. So essentially what that means is it becomes more like a cold low, like a mid-latitude storm that pretty much skates across North America pretty much all year. So typically tropical cyclones are warm throughout the entire column of the atmosphere, while extratropical or mid-latitude cyclones are cold core, so they're more convective. That should occur somewhere over the coast of South and North Carolina, and that should happen fairly quickly. And when that does happen, the wind field and the precipitation field should expand. But the more southerly track of the storm actually has that expansion of the precipitation field and the wind field just off the coast still. So while it might get larger, hopefully if it's further off the coast, like some of these purple lines here, these purple lines are the hurricane forecasting system version A with the lighter purple, and the version B the darker purple here, and the black line here is the official forecast. And some of the other lines, the darker blue is the GFS, and the lighter blue is the Canadian. And then you have the hurricane model and the Hurricane Wharf models. Hopefully those are treated like outliers because they got them really close to the coast here. The official forecast is much further to the south. Here's some of the intensity guidance. So what is not labeled here is actually what the Hurricane Center calls a consensus aid, and it's pretty much right at the border, the strongest, right at the border of a Cat 3 and Cat 4. This is our plot, so this has, again, the Canadian, the GFS, the UK model, some of the hurricane-specific models, as well as a statistical model called the SHIPS, the Statistical Hurricane Intensity Prediction System, and the National Hurricane Center official forecast in black. So the official forecast has a Category 4 hurricane strength in the next 36 to 48 hours. This is pretty much in line with all the other guidance. You can see how much of a spread there is. I mean, the UK model is maintaining a Cat 1 through the next 2 days, while some of the more hurricane-specific models like the HAFS A and B have a Cat 5. That would be absolutely catastrophic for the Florida Peninsula. The official forecast looks like this. The National Hurricane Center expects this storm to get to a Cat 3 status within the next 36 hours and maintain that perhaps through landfall, which would make this a major hurricane for the Florida Peninsula, for areas especially to the right, or to the, in this case, south of the center, the track of the center of the hurricane. That is the area that will experience the worst weather, heavier rains and perhaps stronger winds. Anywhere within this cone of uncertainty, again, this is our version. This might be slightly different from the Hurricane Center, but this is our version of the cone of uncertainty. Anywhere within this cone could be the path of the center of the storm. So, just something to watch, especially if you have interest in the Florida Peninsula. However, you will probably remember from the video before, we had a very small portion of the coastal areas of South Carolina around Hilton Head Island in the cone of uncertainty. Now, because of that southerly trend in the guidance, this storm is looking like it will be more on a southerly track out to sea at a quicker pace than previously thought, which is good news. So this is just a quick look of what we got synoptically. We see the swirly that has now beginning to transition into southeastern Canada to the northeastern United States. And then we have Hurricane Milton down here churning up the waters. The colors here indicate lightning strikes, so you can see some lightning on the outer feeder bands of the storm, as well as some lightning in the eastern Great Lakes towards just south of Cleveland, it looks like, getting into northwestern Pennsylvania. But really all across the southeast, with the exception of some southern parts of Georgia and especially Florida, which are experiencing heavy rain ahead of more heavy rain. Generally speaking, across the southeastern United States, we have pretty nice weather. We got these fair weather cumulus clouds along the trees. If you don't know why that is, that's due to tree stank. If you have any interest in Florida, please let them know that the National Hurricane Center has labeled this a life-threatening event. Some very strong winds and some catastrophic flooding may occur within the peninsula of Florida. But as far as the weather of the Carolinas, Milton should have some very small effects along the coast, especially the further south you are towards Hilton Head Island. But for interest in Wilmington, up towards Cape Hatteras and Elizabeth City, the further north you go, the less effect that you might feel. But that's really good news for us, at least. But we just need to keep those people in Florida in our prayers, and those people in our western counties of North Carolina, as the recovery efforts are still ongoing. But thank you for listening.